There are many mistakes that you could be making right now that is slowing down your grinding speed. So in this video I'll be going over 10 common mistakes that you could be making. Alright, now I see many players make is not using a good fruit. There are currently 30, even more if you're watching this video in the future. Out of those 39 fruits, only like 12 of them are good for grinding. Good fruits for grinding are any elemental type fruit, and the Buddha fruit. Obviously you might not be watching this video for grinding levels, you might be watching this video for mistakes you might be doing when grinding fruit mastery. So obviously this mistake wouldn't make sense if you're trying to grind fruit mastery, so you can skip this section. Now that you know this video covers mistakes for all grinding types and not just levels, hopefully I won't get comments like Venom is also good for grinding bro. For grinding levels, the main fruit you should be using for efficient grinding is either Buddha or fruits like Kitsune/D-Rex. And if you're a low level, any Logia fruit except Rumble is also valid for grinding as it gives you the Logia effect. And for general grinding like Mastery or Money, Buddha is the best option, but any Logia, elemental, fruit is also good. That's the first mistake covered, so let's move on now. Alright, the next mistake isn't that bad, but it can save your fingers when grinding, and it's using an auto clicker. Yeah, it's pretty much what it sounds like. It clicks for you. You can get an auto clicker by just downloading one from Google. I would recommend getting the OP auto clicker one. It's free. I would recommend getting the OP auto clicker one. It's free. I'm pretty sure you can also get auto clickers on mobile from your app store, but I don't think it's too practical, so this mistake is mainly for PC players. Also auto clickers will click much faster than you would, so you'll also be attacking faster, which is a great bonus. Now let's move on to the next mistake. Alright, now this mistake is for grinding levels, so you can skip this section if you're already max. Now that you know that, here's the mistake lots of players make when grinding levels, and it's grinding the wrong leveling quests. Not every quest is good for grinding. A good example of this are the NPCs at the Colosseum Island. This island is completely horrible for grinding as the NPCs are super spread out, and the gladiator NPCs don't even render unless you go over their spawn location as you're seeing in the gameplay. So I would actually recommend following a leveling guide, which tells you what quests to grind. I've got my own leveling guide, which tells you what quests to grind from level 1 till max level. I'll leave a card to the video at the top right of the screen. Now let's move on to the next mistake. Alright, so the next mistake is not learning how to use macros. I mean literally with a macro you can AFK grind pretty much everything. I only knew about macros later on in my journey, so I spent quite a lot of time grinding mastery. I mean literally, with a macro you can save days worth of grinding. Now what is a macro, you may be asking? Well, a macro pretty much automatically does a set of actions for you. So if you wanted to AFK grind mastery on your Kitsune fruit, you would stand on an elevated spot like this so you can't get hit. Then you would use the macro to automatically use the C move for you. Yeah, pretty nice. Now a macro I'd recommend using is Tiny Task. It's super easy to use and you won't get banned for using it. Once you download and open Tiny Task, just press the record button, do the set of actions you wanted to do, and then stop recording. So if you wanted to AFK grind Dragon Mastery, you would just record using the Z move, then stop recording, then press the play button and it'll keep doing those set of actions, in this case, pressing the Z key, till you want to stop it. Also make sure you tap on this button and turn on continuous playbacks so it doesn't stop after one rep. Learning how to use Tiny Task isn't just useful for blocks fruits, you can also use it for Anime Vanguards, Pet Simulator 99, and many other games. Now that you know that, let's move on. Now the next mistake is something I see many players make, and it's not using a good accessory. There are lots of accessories in the game, but only a few actually give good buffs. Lots of people pick accessories based on their look, which is fine if you're not grinding. But if you are grinding, You need to pick a good accessory. I only recommend the Hunter Cape accessory for grinding. It gives 10% more damage on swords, guns and fighting styles, you move 80% faster, and you get plus 750 health. Yeah, really nice buffs, and it's pretty easy to get as you just need to defeat an elite pirate and you'll have a pretty high chance of getting it. And for other Cs, I recommend Black Cape for the first C, and the Swan Glasses for the second C. So yeah, make sure you use the correct accessories when grinding. Alright, this next mistake is pretty similar to the mistake of grinding the wrong leveling quests that I covered earlier, except this one applies to grinding mastery, money, etc. Many people just grind mastery from the highest leveled mobs in the game, in this case the mobs at the Tiki Outpost Island, Final Island, but the mobs at the Tiki Outpost aren't efficient to grind, even though they give the most amount of mastery per kill since they're the highest leveled mobs in the game. Mobs I would recommend grinding are the Cookie Crafters at the Cakeland. They spawn close to each other and when you defeat all of them you can then go up here and defeat these mobs so you don't have to waste your time waiting for the Cookie Crafters to respawn. This also applies to other Cs if you're not max level yet. It's better to grind mobs that are easier to grind even if they give a bit less mastery than the highest leveled mobs for your level. Now let's move on to the next mistake. Alright, the next mistake is about server hopping, and it's kinda crazy that so many people don't utilize this. Instead of waiting for a boss to respawn, you can literally swap servers till you find one where the boss is spawned. Like if I wanted to grind the Cake Queen boss to get the Buddy Sword, instead of just waiting for her to spawn I can just swap servers till I find one where she's spawned. It might sound obvious to experienced players but it's surprising how many people don't do this, especially players on their first playthrough. And just like that, I found a server where the Cake Queen is spawned, instead of just waiting 30 minutes for her to spawn. Also Blox Fruits has a built-in server hopping system, so you don't need to leave the game and rejoin. Just tap on this button at the top left of the screen and you'll see a list of servers to join. It's typically supposed to look like a server button, so I don't know why it just looks like a circle. Anyway, using the server button is much faster than leaving and rejoining the game, so make sure you utilize that. Also, if you can't see the server button, it's probably because you're on console. Console players can see the button. Anyway, let's move on to the next mistake. Alright, the next mistake is not using a private server. Without a private server it is pretty much impossible to AFK grind due to bounty. Without a private server it is pretty much impossible to AFK grind due to bounty hunters, and grinding will be more peaceful since bounty hunters won't be after you. You also won't appear the same island as you, meaning you don't have to contest them trying to defeat the mobs before them. Now I know what you're thinking.
Can't afford private servers!
Well, you don't need to buy them yourself, even though they are one of the cheapest game Robux per month. Anyway, some of your friends may have bought a private server. Like as you can see on the screen, I have access to tons of private servers so I don't even need to spend Robux if I wanted to. If none of your friends have private servers, you can just check on Google for private servers. Just make sure you don't fall for scam links. But yeah, most of the time that'll work and you'll get private server links just like that. I'll leave a link site that has links to private servers in the description. So yeah, also if you're on mobile just to join links on mobile, as it's possible. And yeah, let's move on to the next